What if I told you all the secrets of the universe were encoded in a symbol? Everything from the history of creation to the spirits of God, to secrets about frequency, language, speaking, creation, the secret simulated net realm, matrix we're all in, the movement of energy, electricity, and tons of rabbit trails along the way, all with an interconnected thread. The spirit realm containing all the secrets of everything into the most compact form possible, one symbol, a very mysterious, controversial symbol, which we'll be diving into. This fascinating symbol contains many layers of code I'm about to show you. Let's examine some mysterious symbols and let them speak for themselves and see what we find out. The mind-blowing code between hexagons, hexagrams, the Seal of Solomon, the Star of David, Metatron's cube, sacred geometry, Saturn, hidden symbol codes, and number 6 numerology. Right into the first layer of the hexagon, which is the core of the hexagram and the sacred structure of the bees, whose tissue repairing healing frequency I'm briefly going to turn on for a minute. The average is right below 285 Hz on the solfeggio. Spas incorporate beehives for their beneficial and calming properties, so tap into that beekeeping, John the Baptist, live longer honey propolis frequency power as I show you this hexagon code. We're going deep. A lot of this you won't find in any book. Like the 6 sides you see here of the hexagon, relating to 6 being the number of man who was created on the 6th day, who was also given 120 years like you see the 120-degree angles here. There's a cryptic code hidden within the 120 which I've covered on my page before. 6 being the number of man, also tying into the Vitruvian man and the Seal of Solomon, which we'll be coming back to later. We're going to move on from bees into Saturn for a second. THC molecule segue. Check out the hexagonal structure, which we also see in this electric dipole effect. It's basically the distribution of energy. The shape is related to the creation of a macroscopic dipole, which is the precursor to electricity. Keep that in mind as we check out the hexagon of Saturn, which is also the 6th planet, / wandering star, and in ancient times the second sun. This hexagon on Saturn's north pole is a 6-sided hurricane that could allegedly fit 4 Earths inside of it. And really it ties into the Black Cube conspiracy, which I have a video on my page about. But basically you see this cube appear all over the world and in many religions. Quick interesting rabbit hole that ties in with the Black Cube. When you see the words Kaaba and Allah, the Kaaba is the Black Cube in Mecca, that Muslim circle. And then you hear the word Kabbalah, which also has cube and occultism tie-ins. Kind of sounds like the same origin of syllables. Also, those syllables Ka and Ba mean spirit personality, which you also see in the Merkaba, which is what God rides around in, or the tetrahedron Merkaba, which we're going to be coming back to. CERN is building a lot of its collider tech with hexagon structures. Remember the electric dipole. Also, this hexagonal shape ties in with the hexagon on Saturn. Saturn also tying in with Nimrod, CERN tying in with Nimrod, things we've discussed and we'll be going into deeper. Also, the prefix for hexagon is hex, which is a curse. Hex also tying in with curses, the number 6, and man. Let's check out this other weird hexagon in the middle of the Australian desert. Some other top secret possible witchcraft military installations. This is what we know about this place. It's a top secret US joint military base and it has to do with space surveillance. That's one way of gently wording to the public that it's a giant witchcraft astrological sigil to... This is all for entertainment, by the way. This massive weaponized ritual site, base, is known for working with ELF waves, weapons programs that affect air and deep sea. And the design on this thing just looks crazy, just like the connections you're about to see with the number 6. Number 6 numerology and mystical symbols, and how it all ties in with the hexagon I showed you and the hexagram we're about to jump into, aka Star of David, Seal of Solomon. As we said, 6 being the number of man created on the 6th day. 6 mathematically is considered the perfect number because 1, 2, and 3, whether you add them up or multiply them, all equal 6. Also the 6 days of creation, and the 7th there was rest. This is where things are really going to get interesting. 666 being the mark of the beast, check out these Greek symbols, the original text for 666. It looks exactly like the Islamic Bismillah symbols. Also 6s in many cultures look just like that squiggly symbol you're seeing, especially the ones in Sanskrit. Check out this magical McDonald's M symbol from an old book of magic. Also the Scorpio-Virgo connection with their symbols and story thread with the Mazzaroth, which I've covered. The Latin and Greek prefix are hex and sex, both having to do with occult magical rituals as well. Here's some logos / sigils displaying the 666. You see it in CERN and Disney here. You also see it in the Google Chromecast. Also the Google Play is the sigil of Lucifer, which you see here. And the Google Home logo is the pentagon, which is the core of the pentagram. What you got going on there, Google? The sigil of Lucifer, by the way, is also the same as the sigil of Enki, the mischievous Sumerian god of wisdom said to live under the sea. This sigil and entities are also connected to Saturn, undeniably, which you'll see. Also interesting addresses like 666 UN Plaza. Also, anytime you see 3 hexagons and you see this angle of lines, it's the 666, just like the flux capacitor. It's the angle of 3 hexagons. Also, the atom with 6 electrons, 6 protons, and 6 neutrons in the carbon-12 atom, which is the basis for most life forms according to the scientific model. Also, check out how the official atom logo and shape is the hexagram, which we're transitioning from showing you how the hexagon now becomes the hexagram / Seal of Solomon, Star of David. Also, the true mystery really begins to unravel after setting this foundation. This is running long, but we're also going to be hitting Metatron's cube, sacred geometry, shape power, symbol codes, and so much more. This is all going somewhere, and you're not going to need to pay for it. And remember, be wise as a serpent, but innocent as a dove. See you real soon with the mind-blowing revelation about the Star of David. We're going to keep this journey going. God is the source of encouragement and patience. We are called to have the same attitude as Him. This mysterious symbol contains all the information and secrets of everything. People can say anything means anything, but what happens if you let this symbol speak for itself, undeniably? Spoiler, it is without a doubt the Star of David, and is the same way God has always told you His story. We're going to hit all sorts of symbol codes and connections, witchcraft and sigil secrets, and a Star of Remphan rabbit trail. Right into the mysterious Seal of Solomon form of this symbol, which was encoded on a ring said to be given by God that He could control demons with, as well as talk to animals. We're going to zoom in for a minute to an interesting alternate version of the Seal of Solomon from an ancient grimoire. This is from the Lesser Key of Solomon, the word key being important here in a minute. What this looks like is an emoji. If you've covered my emoji sigil research, then you already know. It's on my page if not. This looks like the key access emoji, the one you push to then be the key to access all the other emojis. It's also the very first one you see. Look at the very specific mouth shape. Right in the middle, there appears to be a keyhole, the Lesser Key of Solomon, the key to freeing the demons through accessing the emojis spreading all over the world through smartphone and tech. Also, if you look at the eyes, these are very specific symbols. The one on the left that looks like a sickle is Saturn, and the one on the right is Mars. And what's in between Mars and Saturn in the sky? It's Jupiter. Jupiter is the key. Jupiter, the king planet, representing the Antichrist, the birthing of the Antichrist / Baal. Also the same reference to the 923 astrological alignment of Jupiter being in the womb of Virgo. It's all about the allegiance to the grand work, to birthing Baal, birthing the Antichrist, freeing Nimrod, the Antichrist, from the pit with the keys. The key, by the way, is also a huge tower, like a cell phone tower used to spread the emojis, used to free the demons. Also, this tower reaching to the heavens, just like Babel. And also interesting that the Saturn emoji is the only planet with an emoji. Also, this variant Seal of Solomon appears to be not only the key emoji in the first one, but also the one that's exactly 6 over. Look at the very specific eye, the way it's open. This is the only emoji that's like that, and the Saturn one looks like it's closed. Emoji key demon tech, to free demons without the wisdom to bind them. Imagine King Solomon, the wisest of them all, who lost control of it, and yet people still seem to play with it and think they could control it if Solomon couldn't. Moving on, into the regular Seal of Solomon, which we see specifically labeled here on this flag from Nigeria. It's interesting why some flags choose the symbols or sigils that they use. It's called vexillology, by the way. Obviously, it's on the flag of Israel. Before I pop back for the Star of David reveal, we're going to go on an interesting rabbit trail, starting with, is it the Star of Remphan? As you see, Remphan is Saturn, who the Jews did worship along with lots of other gods along the way. But it's not the star or messenger of Remphan, which is Saturn. Also identified as Kronos, the god of time, with the sickle, also known as Cernunnos, the reason CERN is called CERN. Ancient Baal Nimrod worship originating in Assyria, as you see here. Let's check out the Assyrian flag and some other ones from the Middle East. Syria has 2 5-pointed stars, which is really interesting. We're going to come right back to that. But you see a lot of the 5-pointed star and the crescent moon. The 5-pointed star being a known sign for Satan, and as you're about to see, Saturn. Here's some other flags that display the 5-pointed star, also one of them having the sickle. 5-pointed bright star of the morning. Also, the crescent moon tying into goddess worship, which is the whole Artemis Semiramis thread, which ties into Apollo and Nimrod again, and Saturn worship. And the final clue is that the sigil of Saturn is 2 joined pentagrams, joined at the tip. Interesting, Saturn being tied to Assyria, and Nimrod being called the Assyrian, the Antichrist being called the Assyrian, and Sirius flag being two 5-pointed stars which join together to make the 8-pointed sigil of Saturn. Also, variations of the star of Remphan are shown with the 8-pointed star, such as the star of Ishtar, also tying in again with the Nimrod Baal worship. And Saturnalia. Also, this same symbol is the Crowley 8-pointed chaos star, symbol of chaos. Also, the UN uses this symbol a lot, which you see on this UN Mount Hermon base, which is off limits, and this is where the fallen angels descended in the book of Enoch, and said to be a portal to hell. The final clue of this sigil of Saturn before moving on is hidden within the tarot. As you see here, the entire system is numbered and built around it secretly, making the sigil of Saturn. Also, the same sigil is hidden within 3 key cards. Finally, this symbol is the Masonic square and compass, with the line drawn through it. The line drawn through is important, serving not only as an as above, so below, but also as a dividing of what God has made. Dividing God and man, which is one thing you'll see the Star of David is, the joining of God and man. The Star of David, also known as the Magen David, means shield and protection, which is partially why it became the Seal of Solomon. This symbol is connected to the Taurus field and language creation. This symbol contains the entire Hebrew alphabet hidden within it, showing the 22 Hebrew letters plus the final forms of Pe and Kaf. This reminds me of how this shape, Metatron's cube, contains all the Platonic solids and can be emerged from within. This tetrahedron Merkaba shape is also believed to be King David's star chart, also leading to the origin of this shape. This grand sextile, extremely rare, is two also rare interlocked grand trines. God made the stars, and there's clearly meaning, especially when he's telling his story. However, I'm going to say it's way different than what horoscope, the scope of Horus, and modern astrologers say it is. Star of David reveal, where it speaks for itself. You see, basically, it's two triangles connected. It's the relationship between God, the Holy Trinity, and man merged together. Also, there's room for 12 even-spaced triangles within, just like the 12 tribes or apostles, which is one layer of how the Messiah tells his story. Also, with the 12 times the 6 points, you get 72, which is an endless trail of fascinating things about the number 72 and holy things, including God, Tetragrammaton, Divine Order, Moses, and a bunch of other religions. Every 72 years, the constellation changed 1 degree, etc. And here really is the main reveal. The 6-7 pattern, 7 being the days of creation, the 6 days of creation, with the 7th being the rest, 7th in the middle. This is also the same parallel of the 7 spirits of God, with the Spirit of the Lord being in the middle. This is the sacred geometry form of the menorah. As you see, the Spirit of the Lord in the middle, with the other 6 spirits of God, the 6-7 pattern. But really, when you put a circle around it to make the Seal of Solomon, you now have 12 triangles around the outside of one, which are the 12 houses of the Mazzaroth with the sun in the middle. Also the same 12-13 relationship we've been covering. The same 12 is also the apostles or the disciples again, which is how God tells his story. Interestingly enough, if you put one more line between the triangles, you now end up with 24 triangles with one in the middle. Just like God in the middle with the 24 elders, just like the description in Revelation, the 24 elders that surround the throne of God that constantly bow, which are the 12 disciples and the 12 tribes. The Star of David is the Mazzaroth. And interestingly enough, the Mazzaroth also tells God's story through symbol form. Symbols, just like sacred geometry, is a hidden language. And there's still one more major final reveal coming up about how all this connects with Metatron's cube, energy and shape power, language, math, music, elements, frequency, and tying it all together in the final part of the Star of David symbol mind journey. See you soon.
In the name of Jesus, get out, get out.